every week I try to bring to YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, all the social medias out there, a tarot reading. And I created a tarot deck called the Vitamin Joy Tarot Deck. And I like to call these readings the Vitamin Joy Tarot Reading. So, why do I use the term Vitamin Joy? Well, this world will visit upon us pain, turmoil, chaos, trauma, grief. Everybody's going to have it. And to survive this world, we should go out and seek joy like a vitamin. Okay. Everybody's going to get sick in this world. Everybody's going to age. And we need vitamins, minerals, nutrients to keep us healthy. And I believe that we need the same type of health for our mind, our heart, our spirit. So, vitamin joy. Now, here's where this gets weird. I sit down and I want to read tarot cards and help people find joy. But I'm not sure that that's where this tarot reading is going to go, because I have to talk to you about some weird things. Now, by trade, I am a psychic. A lot of psychics in the world. A lot of psychics make predictions. There's very little in the way that I lean into the future. The future for individuals and us collectively is so wibbly wobbly because you make a choice today, it's going to change your future. And we could talk about fate and destiny, free will, all of that. I don't know where this country's going. I don't know where the world is going. But I want to talk to you about something weird. Last night I had a dream. I take my dreams seriously, the ones that I can remember. And I'm not here to frighten people. That's not my point. Fear really very rarely ever serves us. But in my dream, there was Jeffrey Epstein. And everybody knows who that guy is, and everybody is, aware of what the Epstein files are. Okay. It could be that I had what's known as a washing machine dream. I call them washing machine dreams because you can't get away from that dude, right? Everybody. News, social media, it's very difficult to get away from the Epstein files, Jeffrey Epstein. Okay. So I could have been having a washing machine dream, but it didn't feel like it. And I call them washing machine dreams because our brains got to sometimes clean themselves out, with our REM sleep and our dreaming. In this dream, we were in a kitchen, and it was like a big, I don't know if you've ever seen a big restaurant stove, big multi-burner black stove, and the burners were gas, and on each of the burners were big pots of water, and the knobs were turning the heat up, and everything was coming to a boil. Okay. I don't like to lean into conspiracy theories, and I don't like to lean into predictions, and I don't like to get weird. I like to keep this work down to earth, but I have to honor what I'm feeling. So take this with a grain of salt, please. And this is for entertainment purposes only. I guess I have to say that. All right. Before COVID hit in 2020, I started to feel real weird. Like something was going to happen, something was going on. Kind of feel that now. And I'm not going to be here to say, hey, we have a COVID on the way or what have you on the way. I don't know. What I do know is that the world does not seem to be giving up on the Epstein files, nor should it. The people who are billionaires in power, who victimize women and children, absolutely need to be held accountable with every effort and every law that we can throw at them. Absolutely, no doubt. When an animal gets cornered, it gets vicious. And, Obviously we're not seeing the whole story when it comes to this thing, and there are a lot of people in power that don't want that information shared. There's what, 3 million files still left that the Department of Justice hasn't shared with us. My point is here that the future is always uncertain. And whether it's COVID or a terrorist attack or a storm, of any kind, it bears, we should stay prepared. Okay? And this is why I don't like leaning into conspiracy theories. I just know that people who have lots of money and are in power and want to stay there can be responsible for some pretty awful things. So it brings me to a point. God, I hate even saying this. I hate saying this. It would serve you well to be prepared for a calamity. And I'm not predicting it. I am not predicting this. I'm not saying in the next month, in the next 3 months, in the next year. What I am saying is that the world is in a very weird place. And I want you to remember the toilet paper shortage of 2020, right? Supply chain issues, what have you. I think it's important to have extra food in your house, first aid kits, supplies, candles, prepare for a power outage. It's really difficult for me to say this because I don't want to create fear. I don't want people to feel fear. I want to say to you, hey, the world is weird. Many things can happen, intentional and unintentional. And it would serve you well to be prepared. I fucking hate to say this. Sorry, a little French slipped out there. Really am sorry to say this. This is why, in my house, I have extra toilet paper. Do you think I forgot the lessons from 2020? I have extra medicine and extra food, supplies. Not because I'm worried about a terrorist attack. I'm not worried about another pandemic. I am like a Boy Scout in the way that I would want to be prepared for anything that could come our way. So keep our wits about us. Just stay prepared. You know what I mean? I don't want to turn you into a prepper. I don't want you to build a bunker. But maybe you should pick up some extra toilet paper, some canned goods, or a little bit extra food for your home in case, the power goes out for a week. You can't get to the stores, or a natural disaster hits and trucking gets interrupted for a bit. I hope you appreciate how difficult it is for me to share this and that dream of Jeffrey Epstein and the water boiling, people in power will do funny things to make sure they stay in power. And I think those pots in my dream gonna boil over. Don't know what that means, and the best case scenario is that the people who are in power, who have abused children and women to that degree, I think that it's important, I would truly love to see them all strung up in the town square. I hate to be graphic that way, but, let's get the guillotine out. I've seen some of those emails, and people who are in power who are mistreating 9-year-olds, well, there might only be one good solution for those folks. With that being said, I had that dream for a reason. And maybe it's in my own personal life, but without getting y'all scared, without getting y'all worried, just make sure you get some extra food, extra medicine, extra supplies. And this reading that I'm doing, is a little bit of a snapshot where we're going to take a look at where we're collectively as a group of humans and what's challenging us and what we can lean into for guidance. So let's take a look at the tarot cards. The card that represents where we're at collectively is the Ten of Pentacles. Tens are the end of a cycle. I don't know if we're at the end of a cycle and something new is going to happen here. Look at the pets, the children, the elders, the family. There's a sense of stability here, home and heritage. I think we should just all be prepared. You know, be prepared for our elders, check in with our community. This is very earthy energy. That, like the pentacles, the earth, the body, our money, our food, our resources. You know, are you prepared? Are you prepared for calamity? Now, it could be political, it could be natural, it could be anything. So again, I'm not predicting anything. I'm just saying we should all collectively be prepared. Don't want to lean into doom and gloom. The card that challenges us, that vexes and perplexes us, the Nine of Cups. This is the wish card. You know, it is a sense of emotional satisfaction, a feeling of being contented. And if this is where we're being challenged, you know, if this is known as the wish card, it'd say, careful what you wish for, you know. I think the world is really going to change with these Epstein files. I really think people in power situations, I mean, other countries are investigating it and not redacting stuff. Like, I'm staying up with current events. I'm watching the emails that should have people's names and emails listed, but they redact them to protect predators. I don't understand my government protecting predators. It's hard. But this is also satisfaction and complacence. You see his arms crossed, he's kind of satisfied. And we can get too satisfied and we can get too reliant on systems that are fragile. Okay? And the card that heals and reveals our guidance. Eight of Swords. Let's not be blinded. Let's not be blinded. This is a person who's blinded. They're creating, things that don't exist. So, I'm not going to be afraid. I'm not going to worry about, say, Yosemite blowing up. I'm not going to worry about pandemics. I'm not going to worry about epidemics. I'm not going to worry about disease. I'm not going to worry about snow. I'm not going to worry about the weather. I'm going to just stay prepared. I'm not going to let fear choke me. And I'm not going to worry about, crazy billionaires wanting to protect themselves and blowing the world up. But I'll be prepared. The world is a funny place. And the one thing that just keeps coming to mind is this. And again, this is where I don't want to lean into conspiracy theories. I don't like conspiracy theories. I might entertain them. I might be like, oh, that's an interesting take. But the one thing that keeps coming to my mind is, everybody knows September 11th, 2001, when the World Trade Centers fell. Okay. You can look this up. This is factual. The day before, September 10th, Donald Rumsfeld was in front of Congress and was said, we can't account for $2 trillion. Now, I might have my facts wrong. I don't think I do. And I can't say that a billion is 1,000 million. A trillion is 1,000 billion. We can't wrap our head around that amount of money. $2 trillion disappeared. They don't know where it went to. And then the next day, the towers blew up. I mean, say it was the Afghanis or the Saudi Arabians or whomever, but really weird correlation. I would hate to think that anybody in power would do something really significant and bad to take the attention away from the Epstein files. But this is a weird world and it's got weird people. So keep calm and carry on. Remember not to create mountains out of molehills. Remember not to freak out about things. Yet, remember how our grandparents and great grandparents had, you know, pantries full of food, canned goods. You know, they were prepared. We have a very, how do I say, a society that's very like, just go to the store and get some food. You know, you don't like maybe have a week or two of food in the fridge or what have you. But if shit hits the fan, intentionally, unintentionally, how are you and your family doing? How are you and your people doing? Again, don't freak out. This isn't the psychic predicting anything. I do feel compelled to say, hey, medicine, food, you know, anything like that, just to stay safe, just to stay prepared, just to stay prepared. So I hope that these messages give you a cause to think about some things. And, you know, if you go to the store and pick up an extra pack of toilet paper to be prepared, I've probably done my job here. But I do think the heat is going to get turned up. And I think that weird things could happen. And we've got to be prepared for it. But we can't freak out. We can't lose our wits. We can't lose our minds. We have to stay intelligent, calm for our families, for ourselves, for our people, for our community. So take that into account. And remember to get your vitamin joy in. You know, the world could keep turning. We could see all of these awful billionaire predators held accountable for the abuse and what have you. We might not. Doesn't. But you got to take care of you and your own. You got to take care of you and your own, right? Extra toilet paper, a little bit extra food, just something in your house. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. All my love to you. Take this and take it with a grain of salt. But just be prepared. I'll see you next time.